Hey everybody, what's happening? Son of a silver stacker here. In today's numismatic news and information for the 4th day of December 2022, I'd like to welcome you over to APMEX so we can see where the spot prices end of the week on Friday. However, before that, gonna give a huge shout out and thank you to all of our channel members. I'll tell you, thank you very, very much. This would be so much more challenging without you. Now let's get over here to APMEX. Gold ended the week at 1807.60, silver at 23.43, platinum at 10.35.30. And palladium at 1940.50. And look at this. You want a silver eagle from, $45.07. Credit card PayPal action, 1 through 19. Free shipping on orders, $199. Yeah, that's a lot of money. And will we see 50 before we see 30 or 35? Wow, right? So let's head over to Coin Week. There's a tremendous article. When I mean tremendous, well, it's quite lengthy. Title of the article is Mint Director Ventris Gibson Answers Media's Questions at U.S. Mint Roundtable. And this happened in August. So it's about, it's quite some time ago. And this by Coin Week, December 1st, 2022. Like I said, it is quite lengthy. And it is a Q&A with Ms. Ventris Gibson, but also with her assistants. All right, so here goes. It says on August 9, 2022, Ventris C. Gibson, Director of the United States Mint, invited members of the numismatic media to a press roundtable at the ANA World's Fair of Money. Coin Week editor Charles Morgan attended alongside Larry Jewett, Coin World, Dr. Ursula Kampmann, Münzenwoche, which is basically Coin Week in Auf Deutsch in German, and then Amanda Miller, ANA. What follows is a transcript of that conversation. And like I said, it's quite lengthy, and I've highlighted the ones that I want to talk about, but I will leave a link in the description if you see something that's not highlighted that you want to read about. So, like I said, there's a lot that I didn't highlight just because it's so lengthy. Okay, so here we go. Let's start things off. Moderator, start things saying, thank you for joining us. Larry's got the first question, open forum. He says, as far as I'm concerned, basically, Director Gibson, thank you, first of all, for spending some time with my colleagues and me in the interview we just had. My questions will be brief and limited. There's a resolution before the House now would call for creation of 120 different coins. That's the commemorative coins, right? I was wondering if this program will have a negative impact on the production facilities if it is mandated. Okay, well, Ms. Ventris Gibson says, well, first and foremost, I think it's important to know that the proposed legislation has 2 co-sponsors, and it takes 290 co-sponsors to pass. So that one with the firefighters is probably going nowhere. Okay, so that's basically what the first question was. All right, so there's a little more work to do as far as that's concerned. Now let's head over to the next one. Charles Morgan, that's the editor, Coin Week, asks, do you believe that there will be a future for circulating coins 10 or 20 years from now? And Ms. Ventris Gibson says, well, first and foremost, I'm not a futurist, but what I can tell you is, as of this day and the foreseeable future, of course, circulating coins and paper is the currency of the United States of America, and it will take an act of Congress to change that decision-making going forward. And thus, at this time, throughout the pandemic, we delivered. I don't want to go too far, but listen, one thing I wanted to mention is it's sometimes what they don't say. And what they don't say in this is, well, the CBDC. Okay, they don't even mention a digital currency and what that will have, what kind of effect that will have on our circulating currency. I was like, what? Come on, let's address that. So, like I said, there's some things in here that I imagine you would ask and I would ask that weren't asked, but there's some other stuff in here that's pretty cool too. All right, so there's Miss Ventris Gibson, and that looks like Miss Ursula Kampmann right there. So that's very cool. Here we go, Miss Ventris Gibson. She says human capital a lot, okay? And let's face it, I think that's reasonable coming from an HR background. In fact, I got to show you. So because she's not from a manufacturing background, she actually went all over the United States to the Mint facilities and their vendors to find out what's going on there. I thought that was really smart. So she seems like she's really hands-on, okay? So Amanda Miller, ANA Communications Coordinator, says, as the U.S. Mint Director, what are you most looking forward to releasing to the public from the U.S. Mint itself, okay? And I've highlighted the important parts. Ms. Ventris Gibson says, well, thank you. I'm looking forward to the continued high quality of our products. Okay, that's great. I'm looking forward to the Morgan and Peace dollars for 2023. Who isn't? I'm looking forward to our 250th anniversary as a nation and what numismatic product we're working on towards that, folks. This is going to be a really big deal. The Mint is really going gonzo. I mean, this is really in their I mean, that's all they're thinking about. They're not even thinking about commemoratives for next year. They're thinking about coinage for the 250th semi-quincentennial anniversary in 2026, 4 years away. Well, about three now that we're in December, right? This is a really amazing time. She says here, I'm looking at youth and sports and connecting with youth numismatists. Absolutely, she says. Now, it says here, yep, she doesn't know the process. That's what it says down here. And so because she doesn't know the process, people like Robert, and that's her right-hand person, I would think, because he has a lot of the detail information. Okay, he's the details guy. He's educating her, but more importantly, she spent several visits to all the mints and to Fort Knox because of the protection of national assets. It's super important to us. But what does the coin for semi-quincentennial 250th anniversary look like? See, I'm telling you, that's on their in their mind at the forefront. Now, it says here, but I am looking to thank the numismatic community. This is a really big deal, folks, because through the pandemic and all through the years, we wouldn't be. Well, the partnership is so important to each other. We survive because of each other, and thus, I want to introduce a coin that is in recognition of the numismatic community. And so we're working with our chief engraver, Joseph Mena, and others. Oh, can you believe it, folks? A coin celebrating the numismatic community? A coin with a coin on it? What? A coin with a bunch of coins on it? What? Yeah, a graded coin on a coin? What? A Morgan on a coin? What? I don't know. There's just so many things it could do. A mint set on a coin? What? See, I could keep going. I'll stop. So it says here, stay tuned. I don't want to give it away just now, but in talking with a few people, they said it would be phenomenal if we could do it. Absolutely. I totally agree. So they're looking forward to that. Then there's the auction. They talk about that in Costa Mesa, California, right down the street from the, well, I don't want to go into that. Amanda says, I have to ask, are you a collector? And what do you collect? Well, she says, I have coins that have been given to me over my lifetime. So that's a no. And we'll go down here. It says here, Miss Ventris Gibson continues, but collecting I did not do. And this is something we can all relate to, folks. I know this for a fact. It says here, since joining the mints, I have turned. All right. And in fact, I've spent way too much money here today and yesterday, and I've ordered a number of products since I've come on board. Yep, who hasn't done that, right? And I have a granddaughter who's a year old, and I made a 1-year gift out of something for her. And starting with my grandkids, I have 4. And I said, okay, I'm going to be the one that helps change. Okay. So imagine getting the youth into this. And this is really one of the things I think Miss Ventris Gibson is really good at, because yes, she is part of the human capital machine. She is an HR people specialist. She's going to be able to connect a lot more of the American people because she's a people person. Okay. More than just a manufacturing person or an engineer. And I think this is amazing. And I think the United States Mint's, director, listen, folks, if you want coin collecting to get more popular, we got the right person in there for the job right now. And I just gave myself chicken skin thinking about it. Let me start over here. It says here, she spent way too much money here today, and I've ordered a number of products since I've come on board. And I have a granddaughter who is a year old, and I made a 1-year gift out of something for her. And starting with my grandkids, I have 4, and I said, okay, I'm going to be the one that helps change. One of the things I love to do with collectors is maybe all of us together as a community to do as grandparents awareness. And maybe film something. This would be something I'd throw out to you guys. Whereas we as grandparents, one, are representing or presenting coins to our grandchildren and letting that excitement be seen, because we have to appeal to the heart before we can ask for the hand. Isn't that right? What? Yeah, absolutely. So you get them hooked on the coins. So it says here, Miss Ventris Gibson follows up, if we want to build that youth, that's potentially something we could all do, because we walk all walks of life, and that's where we can make a difference. So however we can connect with the youth and just bring more excitement to the program would cause others to also be collectors. My granddaughter's great-grandmother gave her a coin set, and she only had about 50 or 60 different, but she's going to make a difference in her life while she doesn't understand right now. She will a few years from now, and I was excited to see some of the kids come through. That was really good. Think about that, folks. This is a big deal we're headed for in the future of numismatics. Ursula, okay, she's one from the German Coin Week. She asks, how important are foreign collectors and bulk foreign buyers for you at the U.S. Mint? Is that something you're thinking about? And it's got the Pride of Two Nations right there on screen from 2019. Ms. Ventris Gibson says, well, this is an exciting topic. And let me say my spiel. And that is, first and foremost, any numismatic collector is important to us, the United States, domestically, of course, internationally, of course, and whatever we can do to feed that appetite where we can, we'll meet what we can do. That being said, we have a number of opportunities to partner with other nations in numismatic products, and we've done that with the Pride of Two Nations. So let me have Robert talk more. And like I said, this is where he lives, and that's that guy, Robert. Good stuff. I imagine they're really going to be partnering with other mints sooner than later. Now, Charles, director, says here, asks, what do you feel, or what do you anticipate being perhaps the biggest challenge that faces the mint in the next few years? Will it be labor issues that we've seen having in the economy, or maybe coin shortage issues, the feedback loop, or production costs, or will it be something else? And I'm running out of time. But Ventris Gibson says we're bringing the artistic infusion program specialists from many different walks of life as it pertains to art, from street art to all kinds. She also says she has to always think of not only manufacturing, but she has to think about information technology for us, the physical picture, what it looks like now, and how it informs our revenue going forward. What else is on my plate? Human capital, we talked about. I also have to talk about some of the legislation that we may need. She has a lot on her plate. The 250th anniversary is the obvious one, making sure that from a manufacturing perspective, some of the equipment and such that we're using, that we're progressing, that we're introducing robotics where we can, if that's possible. I know I have some of robotics and packaging and the like, but just looking at what else is on the range of possibility. Think about that, folks. Now, she has to make sure that the assets of our nation are protected and that she protects the workforce as well. And it's not without saying that we exist in a different environment these days. She's going to make sure that every employee can get to and from work safely. But more importantly, while they're at work, my responsibility is to take care of them. And for the visitors, too. Our visiting centers, so our tour centers, that's all on my plate. I don't mind. I may not have come from a manufacturing background, but I come from a people and leadership and process environment, and just an array of programs that serves to inform and do better. That's amazing, folks. I think we're really spoiled with Miss Ventris Gibson being there. I got 11 minutes, so I can do this. I can do this. Now, we have a great reputation as a mint, and I want to keep it there. When I think of the mint, I think of the highest quality. I think way up there. Now, you may or may not disagree or agree with this, and that's okay. But as long as you think you are, eventually you're going to get there because you have high standards. That's right. It's like when you have those remind me signs, you might not get there, but eventually, because you're working towards it and you don't give up, right? There you go. So I think that might be it for the rest of this. Oh, Charles had a question here. Do you have any opinion on whether or not the 1 cent U.S. coin should be phased out? This is huge, folks. Listen to this. Ms. Ventris Gibson answers, well, everybody talks about the Lincoln cent, or the penny as we affectionately know it as. Right now, there's no discussion about what happens to the penny. There's no interest congressionally about that at this time. However, check this out, Mr. Robert, the right-hand person. However, we are looking at different metals. What? You mean no nickel and copper? Yeah, no more. Ventris Gibson says, yeah, alternative metals. Robert says, yeah, alternative metals that will reduce the costs. So that's in the picture. We have Coin Study Group inside the Mint that analyzes all of this data. Miss Ventris Gibson's like, that's right. Ursula says, hasn't that been an examination of another metal for the penny for about 10 years ago or something like this? Or Miss Ventris Gibson says, well, it could have been. I don't recall 10 years exactly. I know that we're doing now relevant to alternative coins. So the legislation is pending before Congress. There it is, folks. So what are you going to do with that information? Are you going to load up on the copper and nickel coins? Quarters, nickels, especially nickels, right? Wouldn't that be the one that's you get your really money's worth? Gosh, wow. Could you imagine? What would they make? What kind of alloys do you think they're going to make? And I would imagine they're talking to other mints around the world to discover what kind of alloys they're going to be using. Yeah. In fact, it says right here, Ventris Gibson, and that's what we've been doing within the mint, looking at that, looking at other mints and whether what they've done is relevant to the changes in some of the makeup of the raw materials for circulating coins. We continue to look at that and what would be best to replace that penny. But with the broader range of alternative metals, it's not just about the penny, but about all of the circulating coins. Wow, what we can do different. There it is. That's it, folks. So the numismatic community is going to get a new coin. Okay. We're talking about a metal composition change, different alloys. All right. And you know what? Whatever it is they're going to be doing to connect with youth. Now, it does talk about the American Women Quarters on here. And this has been a really interesting article, really eye-opener. But that saying says, you can tell a lot by what they're not talking about. Like that CBDC. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's all for today. Let me go to the plus ones. I'm running out of time. Now, why did the cat run away from the tree? Because of its bark. Now, it is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. That's Psalm 119, 8 and 9. Now, let's head over here to 3 9's fine. 99.9 KON Coin News Radio. This is Stevie Wonder, Higher Ground. Yeah, I did it. I finished within the 15 minutes allotment. Well, there it is, folks. I want to thank you all for watching. Thanks for dropping by. Don't forget to hit that like button. And if you do like what you're going to see, please subscribe to the channel. It's free. Son of a silver stacker. Out.